I'm starting another podcast. So, welcome to Usapang Musiko with me, Ervin Besana. So, a little bit of background about me. So, before I have my own podcast with a former friend, which is Mind the Beats, and it was a really great podcast. I had a great time interviewing people, doing a lot of you know, different topics alongside my former partner, and it was fun while it lasted. But you know we both believe that there are certain things that needs to be ended, and that's what happened. So we ended My Beats. It was a great run, and I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about this new podcast. So you know what got me to doing this podcast is actually my love for talking about anything music is just really superb. I can definitely say that. I play music with EnjointPH and Banky, pero the idea of like talking about music, talking about certain topics about music fascinates me in a way. So here we are. So, so ano ba ang usapang musiko? So basically, usapang musiko ay literally kwentuhan lang ng mga musiko or musikero or kapwa musikero about certain things, whether it's songwriting, music do's and don'ts, or kung ano mang literally anything under the sun, honestly. And that's what I like about music. It's not just a kumbaga hindi lang siya basta isang saradong bagay. It's a lot of topics, or kumbaga the idea is there's a lot of subgenre in it. So the setup will be me, and then every episode I will have a guest to to be part of that episode, and basically magkwentuhan lang kami, literal na, literal na ganun lang yung mangyayari. There's no like other way around it, honestly. It's just a lot of like talking, and then kung may maisip kaming topic, literal nagkakwentuhan lang. Walang drama, walang bullshit, walang kung ano. And I think that's where what I want with my podcast. So, marami tayo magiging mga guest, marami tayong pag-uusapan. Probably mas magiging updated 'yon kasi we'll be talking about like different things and things na alam mo 'yun, yung medyo mainit pa at the moment. So yeah, honestly, that's usapang musiko. Well, anyways, before pala niyan, let me introduce myself. Or not really before pala niyan. Nangyari na pala. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ervin, and I am a bass player for EnjointPH and Banky. And I've been playing music for a very long time. I mean, very long time. I started out at the age of like 10 years old. So nag-start ako with playing drums, and the idea of playing drums is that it's very fascinating kasi it's very, alam mo yun, very uso eh. It's very visual in a way. Kasi pag nakita ng drummer, oh, angas, 'di ba? You play drums, you're the backbeat or the beat of the group. And it just so happens na I was not really, alam mo yun, parang ang dami ng drummers, at the same time hindi ako makapag-excel. So back then I was playing for a church, and nung napasama ako dun sa team, sa music team, wala silang bassist. So nag-step up ako, and then nag-aral ako ng bass. And it just so happens na mas, alam mo yun, mas namahal ko siya. And here we are right now. So I play bass, and I'm pretty sure that at some point medyo, alam mo yun, medyo may kaya-kaya naman, pwede na, okay na, nakakasabay na sa tugtugan. And I really enjoy it. And what happened is just to give you guys a glimpse of like how where we at work right now. So what happened is that um during the peak of the pandemic around I think 2020 around if I'm not mistaken October mga ganon or months before that, kumbaga, I had this vision and I had this idea of creating my own podcast, which is yun na nga, si Mind the Beats. And what happened is that I'm kind of, I'm really afraid to do it alone because I don't know, like, I don't know how to talk solo in a way. Alam mo yun, I don't know how to have a conversation or an engaging conversation with myself kasi 'di ba parang ang baduy naman nun na magkaroon ka ng engaging conversation with yourself and just to just do stuff. So I reached out to my former partner and naging goods naman yung usapan namin doon. We had a really great time. So we talked about a lot of things and I feel like here's my thing about that. I feel like it was a direct approach to our anger with the industry at that moment. Kasi there's a lot of like, alam mo yun, not so glittery or not so beautiful thing that is happening in the industry. Way back then, nandun pa yung issue of like face value with artists. Tapos marami pang mga and a lot more topics that I already forgot. To a point na every time we're doing it for the first like few episodes, I feel like I'm very angry. I feel like I'm very hateful to the world and to the industry that I'm in to a point na parang alam mo yun, parang I don't know like why am I feeling this way? And I think as time goes by, as the industry changes, kasi sobrang laki nung shift with like before the pandemic until now. Sobrang laki nung shift ng appreciation ng people to music. To a point na nawala na yung anger na yun, nawala na yung hate na yun. And I feel like right now I'm just, talking about things that well, nung panahon na yun, we were just talking about things that will be helpful to the community, to the people that listens to us. Kasi bubuhat lang ng bangko ng onte. We had traction at some point. A lot of people listens to our podcast, nakaka-digest ng mga pinag-uusapan namin, nakaka-digest ng mga lessons around it. And that's actually the main goal, just to reach out, to help out musicians, artists, anyone na makakakuha ng lesson around it. And I feel like nakatulong naman siya in a way. Diba? And just so happens that, as time goes by, as things change for good, nandun na rin natapos yung podcast. So, we understood the assignment that it's something that we need to finish. So, we finish it off. But luckily, the thing about podcasting is that it will remain forever, actually, in the internet realm, kumbaga. So right now you can still listen to the podcast itself. And it's still gonna be on my recommended playlist kasi it's a sub product of mine. So for that, which leads me to Usapang Musiko. So after like how many months, I think, kasi we ended Mind the Beats October of 2023, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. After how many months, I've been contemplating about doing another podcast, like a solo one with guests. Kumbaga, kasi I need like a second opinion and I need someone to have a banter with. Kumbaga, in terms of like having conversations. Kasi baka mamaya if I'm just talking about stuff and yung pala mali pala. So, it doesn't make sense. I'm like spreading fake news. So, I need to have people in it, in this podcast, just to correct me at the same time, alam mo yun, just for me to be educated as well. So, what happens that I've been contemplating about it, and turns out, I just need to actually do it. Yeah. Yeah, that's, I don't know, silly. It's just a silly thing for me. Nah, I can actually do it. I'm just, not acting on it. And right now, we're stepping up. We're doing the podcast. We already have the logo. We already have, we already set up the, what do you call this, RSL, or what, the link. And, you know, we're just waiting for people to show up and do the podcast. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that wants to be part of that podcast and wants to have a conversation. So yeah, we're ready for it. So again, thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, guys, for, if you are a previous listener of Mind the Beats, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for giving us the love and the appreciation that we need. It really gave us the, yung head start to really do it. And right now, if you're a new listener, again, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you already, to be honest. And it's a lot more to come. So, literal na kwentuhan lang tayo, man. So, again, welcome to Usapang Musiko. And I'm Ervin.